Hey, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we had an emotional visit today that we shared with 8 of our students that are on our education support program, where we actually have about 15 kids now that we're trying to put through various stages of uh, of their education, right from grade 7 right up to Nice, who is going, that's her name. Nice is actually going to graduate next year. She is studying criminology and expects and hopes to go through the through the police force. So what we did was we actually wanted to put a little bit of discipline in on the kids, because it's very easy for them to, and understandable too, to think that everything is free and there are no responsibilities for it. So we try to put it to them that actually the help that they're receiving is not free, and that we expect something in return. And we got their agreement. Well, that didn't we? I said, isn't that reasonable? You're being helped. Isn't it reasonable that you should give something in return? Yes, they all agreed that it should be. And then we told them exactly what it was that we expected. And what we expect, so that we can be the best kind of mentor for these kids, is that they be honest and truthful and responsible. So they need to maintain good communication with us. And if we decide, say that there's some event or something happening that we feel that they should attend, then we expect that they will attend. Now, we're not trying to instill any particular specific religion on them, okay? Because that's not a requirement. It's the requirements that we've said that we demand are that they be willing to attend something that does not offend their own spiritual beliefs, but that we hope that they will agree will benefit them in some kind of way. Now, one of the things that's most endearing about Filipino children is that they are shy, and it is endearing. It is a very charming aspect of the children that we meet. But the thing is that it should be an initial under control shyness that we all have to deal with, and we have to get this point over to them, that at times we may require them to do something which will help them to overcome their shyness. And getting each one to introduce themselves and talk about themselves was one of the things that we thought would benefit them. Now, when I was in America, I decided that I should certainly tidy up my technique of talking in public, and that I should be able to clearly and succinctly put my points over to an audience or people who I'm talking to, and I should be able to do it effectively, and that this would be beneficial to me too. So I went to Toastmasters, and Toastmasters is a group of people who get together to learn, and they teach and study the art or the technique of public speaking. And I benefited a lot from that, in that I can talk, and I can talk reasonably clearly, you would be a better judge of that than I am, about any given subject. And during the training, you would go, I've forgotten, I think it was either once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks. We used to go and we used to gather together as a group, and we would have certain tests. Everybody, when they joined, had what was called an icebreaker. And the icebreaker is one where you get 10 minutes, which is timed. You get 10 minutes to tell your audience about yourself. Now, one of the things I learned on one of the seminars that I went to about public speaking was that an audience will listen more to what you're saying when they know more about you. So one of the things that you'll find that all of these motivational speakers do is that they will share with you what their story is or was about when they reached the point break. This is the moment at which you say, I had enough of living like this and I'm going to do something about it. And I listened to many of these motivational speakers, and they all had similar heartbreaking stories in which they reached rock bottom. And then when they reached rock bottom, they found inner resources which made them say, enough. I'm not going any lower than this. Now, almost everybody has one of these moments. When you listen to a good friend of mine, a pal, who we shared a love of vintage Ford Econoline vans, and Herb had been was a van owner and a van enthusiast and something of an authority on the Econoline vans, which were very cute vans. And I bought one, and he saw me in the street, chased me down, and we became pals. Well, his story was incredible. He and a friend had decided that they were going to go be homeless. Now, they were drinkers, and pretty heavy drinkers too. And what they used to do was they used to get aluminum cans. They get enough aluminum cans, the empty ones, to furnish themselves with some full aluminum cans. And once they did that, that was it for the day. And that went on for some time. Then one day, they were in a squat in a house, sleeping on the floor. And his friend went to the refrigerator, which I think was their only piece of furniture, and said, "So, Herb, beer?" First thing in the morning, beer. And something about his sense of awareness, something made Herb say, "No, I'm done." And his friend was amazed. Well, Herb got up and shook himself out, and he walked to the door, and he looked out onto the street, and it was December, and it was cold, and there was, if not snow, there was frost on some of the abandoned cars. It wasn't exactly a salubrious area. And he walked out, and he walked out of that house, and he walked out of that life. Something made him decide that that was it. He never touched another drop. And when I met him, that had been, I think, 15 years. So everybody has one of these milestone moments in which they decide that this is it, that they weren't going to take anymore, that they were going to take control of their lives. And everybody has that. And what we did today was we asked, not for that moment specifically, but we asked them to share about their lives. It was an incredibly emotional moment, and actually, even though most of us didn't admit it, we were all in tears because of what the person who was relating their story was overcome with tears themselves. And none of them, unbeknownst to us, none of them had had an easy time. All of them had had a real struggle. And one of the youngest kids, she had come home to the news that her mother, father, and grandmother had all been killed in a tricycle accident. She lost 3 of the most important people in her life in one go. And she was one of, I think it was 7 or 8 children. The only survivor in that accident was her little brother. And when we met her, we would never have dreamed that she was a survivor of such an incredible tragedy. But anyway, she was someone who we bonded with straight away. This is in the area of House 42, for those of you who are familiar with what we do. And she was telling us that she didn't have, I don't know how the question came up, but in this little group of kids, because back then when we first met her, and she said that she didn't have a father. And I said, we're going to help you, and I will try to give you some of the things that a father would give you. And she lives with her 7 or 8 brothers and sisters with her grandfather. Now, at some point I knew that we will eventually end up building them a house. I just know it. I haven't actually seen the house except from afar, but I know that it will be very basic. So we had decided that we would be able to give her initially 1,000 pesos a month, so that we know that she is at least eating. It's not a great deal, but we do have, I think Beth said tonight, today that it was about 15 students, which we're giving various allowances up to 3,000, and some 1,000 and some 1,250, and depending on their situation, that's how we handle it. But it was such an incredible visit, an incredible moment to listen to these children. Some of them didn't manage to be able to tell us all. They were the little girl who lost her family was not so easily able to share that, but we already knew about her situation, of course, and we had asked her to come to the house with all of the other students, and we put our expectations of what we wanted from them. We wanted them, as I said, we wanted them to be truthful and honest and reliable, and we wanted them to be responsible. So at the very, very basic of being in good communication, if we send them a message and we say, we'd like you to go, as we did just over a week ago, we sent to all of the students and we said, there is a youth jam tomorrow, and we would like you to attend and send us a picture of yourself via the phone. So we made that. Now that youth jam would be one in which they would meet all kinds of other children, all in all kinds of other situations, and they would learn and benefit from that. It's not a specifically one religion or another. It acknowledges a belief in God, which we feel as a Christian motivated group. We are followers of Jesus Christ, and we feel that we need that as a basis for being able to work with a child. So that much we demand. Now, in the case of, say, Rika is, I think, not sure, but I think that she's born again. But Mency is Roman Catholic. This is totally fine by us. When the other girl, one of the older girls who's in criminology, when she came to us, we asked her to come and get her allowance when we gave it to the other children, which was at the church. So we said, come to the church. She came to the church and we said, if you would like, we would love you to continue to attend, but only if it's something that you feel in your heart is for you. So today we learned a lot about the stories of these kids, which you can see, and I recommend that you listen very hard. Now, the sound may not be as good as we would like because the children were not out there yelling what had happened to them, so the volume may be low. Sorry about that, but as I said to another friend of mine, the volume may be low of the voices, but the emotion comes through loud and clear, and I think that you will perhaps benefit from it like I did when you realize just what some people are going through, and for the most part they're struggling through it alone. Have a look and let us know what you think. Bye for now.